Thank you for learning Siebel with the Siebel Hub. We have a unique, comprehensive and always up-to-date collection of Siebel CRM 2021 training classes. We can deliver live online and on-site training in the highest quality with the most experienced instructors. And we also offer a unique modular Siebel CRM 20 and 21 training. Follow the links in the description or on this slide to learn more and learn Siebel with the Siebel Hub. Okay, so official welcome to the Siebel Friday for August. So we have quite a lot of things to talk about. So let's get right in. Of course, Siebel 21.8 is the most interesting thing to talk about here. And I've prepared a few slides, and it was the first, since a few releases, was the first which had official features, like in the release notes. And the first two are those official features: product configurator improvements and triple SE Siebel server sync for Exchange integration is now supporting Office 365. And then as you go through the release notes and the tiny little what's new notes in Bookshelf, you find some hidden gems as usual. So I found something along message broadcasting, and test automation got an update. So that's interesting. So, and then the smart answer popped up in in the installer. That was interesting too. And the new Tomcat version is laid down. When you apply 21.8, you get Tomcat 9.0.46. So let's have a few details on this. Product configurator for those who use it. Of course, it's complex module within Siebel, and just discussed with Nick before. Yeah, so there is, if you work with that product, you soon become a specialist in all areas of that niche or boutique product. And product configurator has been around for a long time. It's so long that I forgot the product name that Siebel Systems acquired. What was it? Man, I forgot. Yeah, but recently. The iLog engine for constraints, yeah. But yeah. There was a company that Siebel acquired, man. The product configurator itself, and they combined it with the iLog engine. Yeah, the iLog engine made the news last year when Oracle decided not to replace it with ACT, with the advanced constraint technology. So that was like a dead end. And so iLog is going to continue, and of course the product configurator is going to be continued. So there is some improvements according to the updated performance tuning guide in cache management. So there are some enhancements to the cache administration view. Not that I've been using it actively. I'm not a product configurator admin, but now you can add promotions, bundled promotions to remote instances for caching. So in layman's terms. And also there's a session pooling setting. So it's obviously reusing sessions better, not creating new sessions every time. So improving performance in that area. So if anyone's in the audience who uses product configurator, they might want to drop some comments on that. All right, but well, that area has been improved and documented, and also in the Bookshelf you'll find information about that integration with Exchange Server. That's also not a new product. That has been around for a while. Quite a notorious boutique product, triple SE, the Siebel server sync for Exchange. Anyone using that one? Crickets?
Yep.
Okay.
Here's Alex. I was using it 10 years ago, but I don't think it has changed much from functional. That's a great thing. That's connects directly to Exchange and integrates with your Outlook use.
Yes, hi Alex. Yeah, yeah. Same here. I've been working with it like 10 years ago the last time, and well, say the it still hurts. No, and the new thing, of course, is to well integrate it with the cloud-based Exchange, the Office 365. Which it couldn't do, and now in 21.8 there's a new business service which you obviously have to add to your application as per the servicing guide, the SSE Azure UI business service. That's a Neo, by the way, a non-extensible object, so you can't find it in the repository. So it's just Neo, yeah, those file-based, DLL-based features that Oracle ships. Yeah, and obviously there's some documentation around it to get it going with the cloud-based or Azure-based Exchange server. Good to hear, good to know. Next thing I found in the application admin guide was a note about a new user preference, which has been added. It's called max message count. It's for message broadcasting, so you can control how many messages will be retrieved or processed is what they use here, the word. So you can combine it with the message broadcast cache setting. And to use that, actually, you have to expose it in the user preference BC manually. So you have to add a new field and then expose it in the behavior applet or in user preferences applet so that you can actually set it. There's a default value to it as well. So yeah, not sure who is affected by that. So message broadcast is, I think, widely used. So do we have a representation here in the population using message broadcast really hard?
Just out of box.
Yeah, it's mainly
there.
Alex, yeah, mainly for like
Brian,
report notifications.
It's actually notifications now. We don't have it's the message broadcasting that scrolled along the bottom is gone. It's now exposed as the notifications in the
yeah, sure,
upper
but
right.
It's still the same data. It's still so if you go to message broadcast in the sitemap, it's just different display. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the scrolling thing is long gone. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's okay. So yes, I hear some people are using it, and so there's some enhancement there. You might want to try it. And that got me by surprise, this one, because actually I teach test automation a lot because I do this new features trainings and test automation introduced in IP17, the recording playback. That has been improved over the 4 years, and just a tiny note in the release notes got my attention that there's now a detailed report flag. And so I wanted to try it and came up with that you have to update DISA as well to 21.8, and you have to install the new Jenkins plugin, a new version of that Jenkins plugin. So I got this just installed on the machine, so I can show it live. So here, playground box. So where's my script? Yeah, so I got a sample script recorded, and when I hit play, that's DISA 21.8. Let's check. Yeah, just proof DISA 21.8 installed, and that has a new flag, detailed report, yes or no. And when you actually run the replay or the playback with detailed report, nothing changed. You get a detailed report. And if you turn it off, you only get a summary report, that HTML report. So there's a screenshot of that summary. It's just 3 lines, like it started and all steps passed and then it's completed. So you don't have any details, any sensitive information is not shown. And if you go to, well, let's go Jenkins. Yeah, it's running. So yeah, got a project here which I use for testing the test automation. So, and I uploaded the new HPI, the plugin, and so that form is now sporting one more parameter, well, a parameters field. And in the help, they actually point out there's this report level 0, which to achieve the same thing when you run it in batch mode using Jenkins to achieve and only to disable the detailed report. Looks like to me that there might be in the future more parameters you can pass on to DISA from the Jenkins project, maybe. But it's basically when you use it extensively, test automation, it's not like the not like the most important feature to disable the detail reports. But there's some movement here. So 21.8 definitely has some changes here and very stealthily described in the release note. So you have to figure out, okay, I need DISA 21.8 for that. Plus I need to get the, well, reinstall the plugin in Jenkins. Wow, crickets.
Basically, we use a robot framework for test automation.
So not the Siebel built-in?
No.
Oh, okay. Like we have 11 people, no test automation there. Okay, so well, that's that. Yeah, and the installer package, MDE package, always has those 1 of 9, 2 of 9, and 7 of 9 has an image of Jerry Ryan in it. No, kidding. I
was thinking of that.
Yeah, so Trekkie alert. Yeah, okay. So smart answer pops up, and I'm like, "Hey, smart answer! That's the thing I worked on 15 years ago." So we have like a sentimental journey today. Anyone worked with smart answer? That was that. The version I worked with was based on a product called Banter, and that was based. Okay, Jason's putting something in the chat. Test automation. Okay, Jason says at the time when you considered it, Siebel test automation framework was not robust enough to meet your needs. Data sets were not there. Yeah, they were added in 20.9. So if you were starting today, it would be likely your choice. Okay, so you're using something else.
Yes, native Selenium.
Native. Okay, so you write your Selenium scripts and run them. Okay, so maybe it gets a second chance there. Let's see. So about that smart answer thing, yeah, if anybody remembers it, well, that was a quite intelligent natural language processing engine of a Israeli company. So I met the chief engineer back then in a German project where it was like the first implementation in Germany. And it was used to categorize incoming emails. So email response, emails, unstructured data, and it categorized these emails. So what is this email about? Is it like complaining? Is it about internet? Is it about mobile? And then you could press a button basically on in the Siebel UI labeled Smart Answer and get these suggestions from the Smart Answer engine. So it's quite quite impressive what it did back in the day before AI and machine learning were really a thing. So now Oracle includes a new new product, Limba. So I googled that. So let's see. Do they have anything else? Well, that's the company. Discover knowledge from text. So it's like in that area, NLP platform. I haven't done too much investigation there. But obviously there's a new Smart Answer engine now coming by surprise. And you miss anything in that list? So now Smart Answer is in. But the ancestor repositories are not in. They were occupying the 7 of 9 slot.
Actually, that's a mistake. They were missing from the Windows download.
Oh, okay, Brian. Hi.
If you need them, they're still in the other packages, and they're the same, of course, because they're repositories. So if you need one, you can get it from the Linux download or whatever.
Okay, I wanted to say, yeah, get the 21.7 maybe, because the ancestor repositories, they don't really change.
There are going to be slight changes in each release, because anytime you see something that says special configuration instructions, or you need to manually add something to the repository, we always add those to master. So if you were to, earlier you were showing some things you had to manually add, I think for the SSE business service,
yeah,
to the repository. If you were to take the 21.8, well, I guess the ancestors shouldn't change. Never mind, I withdraw that. Yeah, the ancestors should not change.
Yes, that's...
Never mind. I was saying the new one might change. I don't know if everyone's aware of that, though. The new one does change.
Yeah, sure. The master repository of 21.8.
Yeah, the master includes, it includes all of those manual configuration changes that might show up in the release notes.
Yeah, so that's why when you upgrade from pre-IP17 to 21.8, you have to take a close look at the release notes, because your repository ends up being, well, complete, let's say, including all the stuff that is mentioned in the release notes that you might not do if you update. And thanks, Brian, for this. Yeah, the upgrade ancestor, if you need them, you could take the Linux download, or
21.7, whatever.
And I guess it will be back in 21.9, right?
Yeah, it was just a packaging mistake.
Yeah, I can.
We didn't want to have to re-upload them all, because it takes a long time to upload them and then re-download them to make sure that the upload worked.
Yeah.
So,
I know what you mean. I can just see before my sarcastic eyes, I can see the like, do you want to replace the file? Yes, no. 7 of 9. So yeah, that's that. So that's but Smart Answer, there's a new installer for Windows, obviously, yes. So it's a Windows package. And whenever I have time, I run the repository upgrade and get the non-mandatory parts, and then I check what's been added. So I put together this list, and these are the objects that are updated or inserted. That's the difference between, let's say, 21.7 and earlier. You get a lot of stuff, of course, and this is the additional stuff you get with 21.8. You could just open the ZIF files that repository upgrade imports automatically. Something drawn my attention here, and yeah, might just be the forum to talk about the workflow web tools repository workflow canvas, so that workflow editor view. There's now an alternate version. So somehow, maybe, is there some work? Is there something we could expect that in terms of improvements on the workflow editor in Web Tools. So that's the question, but I looked at
Sorry, Alex, I missed your question. What was it?
So yeah, there's these alternate views and applets that are, well, there's an alternate view with an alternate canvas applet for the Web Tools workflow editor. Not that it opens when you edit the work. So I applied this update and I applied the repository upgrade, and Web Tools still uses the old view for the workflow editor. So I just forced it to use the alternate view. It wasn't really much difference there. But is there any work in progress? Is what surface is here on the workflow editor?
My inclination is it was probably a mistake, but I'll look into it.
Yeah, it's just it caught my eye, and yeah.
I mean, this is one of my product areas, and I have no clue. So.
Okay, no sweat. It's like it's not happening as I could confirm. Nothing happens really when you apply the repository upgrade. When you deliver that, you still have a workflow editor in the Web Tools. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, these slides I always include, but I also have them in the YouTube video for 21.8. What are the steps to get to 21.x, 21.8 included? Still MDE plus post-install database update once per environment, optional repository upgrade, administrative changes, configuration instructions if need be. So just really quick, there's a fast track for DR environments, and there's a slow track if you have to do some repository changes, of course. And for RR, the repository changes are migrated using migration application. You still have to, well, before you run the migration application, still have to run MDE post-install database update. All right, so that's it for 21.8. Any observations, input there, comments?
And I have to thank Brian's group of technicians to help put this all together for sure, because I couldn't have done it without them. Do you see my screen at all?
Yeah, well, coming up fine.
Okay, so what I had happening is we had an ActiveMQ process that would update our subjects in CTMS using ActiveMQ. Well, with all the I had a whole bunch of interfaces I had to deal with. I had to deal with the partner loading the data into a database, the Informatica system formatting the data into a schema, us pulling the data into a schema that we could work with, and Informatica writing jobs that would create the ActiveMQ fields, then a title job that would load it into our environment, and then a title job that would take our stuff and update the database and delete the records. With the REST API, all I got to do is get the record, send it back a response, and we eliminate 3 ActiveMQ servers, 2 databases, and a bunch of stops that every time we broke, I had to figure out who broke it. Now I only have 1 instance. So that's how this became a need. And we had a workflow. There we go. So the steps that we needed to do was copy the business service workflow process manager. And I gave it a new name called REST, so I knew what I was using it for. Right now, we're using a database user. I'm in the process of trying to change it over to OAuth. And if I get that to work, I'll present that in the future sometime. Maybe I'll have it by next month. You need to define a responsibility, assign a user to responsibility, then assign a responsibility to the business service, and then assign the business service method to the service of the responsibility. And in this case, it was run process. then we tested the workflow with Postman, and that worked really well. And so this is basically the business service I cloned over. It's a standard business service, which was pretty cool. Actually, I think Oracle's put a KB out on how to do this now also. I defined a database user and gave it a specific responsibility so that I knew who was actually updating. And actually, when the record comes in and updates the environment, it actually uses the user ID of this responsibility to stamp the record, which is pretty cool because we're going to do a dual implementation. We're going to slowly weed off studies or partners from the ActiveMQ and move them over to REST. So the ActiveMQ uses enroll user, and this way I know which process updated which record in the system. This is what the responsibility kind of looks like. I created an API responsibility, and what's nice about this is that you can distinctly tell it what service method you want to use. There's like 5 on this particular service, but if you only want them to have access to this one, that's how you do that. And this is the XML I used to, this is the same XML that was used to create, we used in the ActiveMQ. The only difference is we brought it in through here to process as a JSON. And then this is kind of how the whole process works. We do the REST API first, then we do the URL for the Postman. I mean, that's how they process. It comes in and does the REST method run batch, and then it calls our workflow process, which is below. We take the JSON message into the XML converter and run our through process, and when we're done at end, it sends a JSON message back that they can interrogate. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. It's not a whole lot to it. Once you get these other pieces here together, get all these things together, it's like any other service that you use for REST. Again, I got to thank Oracle support for getting me through this particular one. They were outstanding in figuring this out.
Okay. Wow, that's neat. Yeah, thanks, Nick, for showing us a real world implementation of calling a workflow through REST API. That is always a question when I do trainings. It's like, okay, we have an API, REST API for data, for business services, for migration, but what about the workflows? And to say, well, how does a workflow run? It's a business service. It's workflow process manager. So the answer is right there. But you have proof that it works.
Well, what you may want to do too is, depending on your workflows and how you want to do it, is you're going to have to set one up for each of your workflow processes. Unless you can come up with a better way to think of it, unless you have some sort of.
I did a demo, not with a complex workflow, but basically you pass in the incoming body, in the JSON body, you can pass in the process name.
Right.
And so you can run any, you can make it the workflow process manager REST service and run any workflow process you like.
I think that's what I do here in this business method. You see, I do pass the process name
Yeah,
here.
sure. Sorry, of course you do. Yeah, so you pass the process name here. I particularly like that one because it's like, as we said before the recording started, you combine the old MQ SOAP XML world with JSON and REST. So it's XML in JSON. I just love it. I've seen the other way around too. I've seen JSON and XML, which is also cool. So yes, there's a meme coming up. Yeah.
I have to bounce. I got a actual real live meeting with the users.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Catch you next month.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Much appreciated. Okay, so yeah, that was a valuable input from Nick. Anyone had some experience or tests along this track, calling workflows through REST?
No, but it's great to see that can be done.
Yeah, and it's surprisingly easy. So it's like, okay, it's just a business service, so that's it. But that reminds me of the let me go back a little bit to 21.6. Yeah, where the Siebel Commerce REST API was announced for DX of the DX4C. Actually, there's nothing more than happens that actually adding the workflow process manager itself to the responsibilities. So enabling it out of the box, and of course the reason why Nick or everybody I work with, I recommend to copy the workflow process manager, because if you expose the real workflow process manager, if you limit access to it by a responsibility, which you have to do for REST, then nobody else can use it. And that severely breaks your application in various places. Like there would be like EAI file transport or EAI Siebel adapter, just restricting it to one responsibility. So Oracle has a note in the release notes. When you upgrade to 21.6 or higher, you get this seed data with Workflow Process Manager in the responsibilities, and you have to either remove it if you're not using it, or open it up, add more responsibilities. And that's one of the things that just happens during an upgrade, because that applies everything, like Brian said before. That applies everything that's in the release notes, including the seed data. And if you update, it does not happen. So,
Alex, is it for 21.8, right? This is preceding with responsibilities, and this is standard part, or it's a repository upgraded?
No, the workflow process manager gets added to the Siebel administrator responsibility if you upgrade to 21.6 or higher, because of the seed data import that happens.
I mean, if we apply 20.8 on top of, say, 21.5,
then it does not happen, because it's just update.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, because you would definitely notice if Workflow Process Manager is limited. Yes. Some applications
That's for sure.
They have runtime events on login, and they would just break. Oh, boom. Yeah. So that's the reason why coming back to Nick's Nick has gone, but his slide, you have seen his slide that he copied the Workflow Process Manager, and it works perfectly fine. Why shouldn't it? Yeah, you don't do it every day, but people do it a lot, copying those business services for specific purposes, right? It's perfectly fine Siebel development work. All right, so yeah, interesting times. Invoking a workflow that gets XML via JSON, that is something to see. Can't get over it, obviously. So, yeah, that's it from my side and Nick's side. So, anything else you wanna discuss, geek out on Siebel topic of your choice, or propose something for the next Siebel Friday? Just put it in the chat, drop me an email, put a comment in the replay on YouTube. It's coming up in a few days.
Will be interesting to see some experience with outbound REST. Currently doing something, having some compatibility issues, but it is going forward. But
Okay, yeah, outbound REST, yeah.
That's some effort. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good topic. Yeah. Do you have some specific project there, Alexei?
Yeah, we have some integration what we should do, and we're doing so, but it costs some blood. Contrast to soap integration.
You need some soap to wash up the blood, sweat, and tears.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Maybe Alexei, we can get in touch after this, maybe next week, and see if we can prep up something for next Siebel Friday. Yeah, so it's a nice topic there. And
yeah, along those lines, there does appear to be a new business service in 21.8 that provides for a direct conversion from JSON into Siebel property sets.
Yeah, you mentioned that, Jason. I couldn't find it. Have you found it?
I found it in a fresh Windows installation looking through web tools. So I do see it in there. I've not had a chance to actually test it out.
You have to do a fresh installation with the master repository.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay. So it's definitely not in the repository upgrade. So that, and is it really called Siebel XSL to XML converter?
It is. Yes, just as I typed. I'm looking at it now on my screen.
Okay. Does it come with a class, with a special class, probably?
No, it's similar to many of the others. It's CSS Java Business Service.
Oh, it comes with a jar file on the Tomcat.
Mm-hmm, it must.
Yeah. So okay, maybe we'll. If I may, I'll drop you an email. Maybe you can extract that CIF and jar file. Unless
that will be great, because I'm just missing it, because this actually the conversion is embedded in Java of Tomcat libraries, and it occurs in outbound REST library, and sometimes I'm missing this REST as a JSON format. So just a transition from property set or from XML to JSON, it might have different variations and interpretation.
That
sometimes you have some control on it.
Yeah, that is black boxed until now. Well, let's check with what Alexei suggested for next meeting. It would be great to get that that new business service, get it X-rayed somehow and unblack boxed to see how you can use it. So did you actually use it already, Jason?
No, I've not. I've just now located it after we looked in the upgraded environment and didn't see it. I didn't think to check again, but this discussion here prompted me to check just one more time, and sure enough, it's in the new installation in a different environment altogether.
Okay.
But it is, yeah.
So when you do an upgrade, you probably get it, but if you do update to 20.21.8, well, at least I didn't get it. So, but Stefan has it since 20.9. Which is interesting.
Jason, can you email me the name of that service as you see it? Because I don't have it either.
The mystery service.
Yes, it's quite odd. Spelling and nomenclature and all. Yes, will do. Now, Stefan, you said you see that service in 20.9?
I'm logged in as admin, so. Okay, we got a mystery service here. I hope it doesn't turn out to be a custom business service that has been named that way. Yeah.
It maybe just opens the interface to existing library in Java. So I could imagine it will be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comments on it are basically a copy of the Siebel REST outbound utility service, but says for internal use only, called by EAI Geronimo Business Service.
Oh wow, this is now getting weird. EAI Geronimo Business
So
Service.
much unofficial information.
That naming convention is off the charts.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is proper Siebel nerd fun. Yeah. So let's try to find out what's the case with that business service and report on it in next Siebel Friday for sure. Scooby Doo.